Robots took my podcast, man.
And thanks for coming. Again, I'm Anthony. I know you've messaging with Jordan, so we appreciate it. It's gonna be fun. How long do you have to chat?
At least 15 minutes.
At least 15?
No, I'm kidding.
Cool.
I don't have any set time.
Okay. So we go about an hour or something. That's not gonna.
That's fine. An hour's good.
Cool. I was like, okay, so throwing this out. All right, here we go.
Actually, 14. 14 now.
Okay, now. In and out, I like it. Oh, my brothers, times to Goravit about a real horse show, Senny.
That was pretty bad.
All right, Droogs, let's get to it. Jordan, you want to 1, 2, 3 us?
3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Jordan.
And I'm Anthony.
Anthony, we have a guest today.
Yeah, who is our guest, Jordan?
Mr. Sean Clark from Malfunction YouTube, from the Sean Clark channel on YouTube as well. He's a prop collector. He does these great videos about finding movie locations from famous movies we all love. I'm a fan of these kind of videos in general on YouTube. So please welcome Mr. Sean Clark. If I'm leaving, also you have a management company as well. Yes, where you manage certain celebs.
Hi there.
Yeah, hey, welcome.
Yes. Sean, could we start off with your version of "I Still Believe" by Tim Capello? Just a little bit of that, because I saw you do this already. Or am I putting you on the spot here?
Well, you know, that footage you're talking about from the Horrors Hallowed Grounds episode, that was shot in like 2010 or 9 or something like that. So I had better pipes back then, I think.
Oh my God, it was that long ago, that video. Wow. I just found
you
that
nailed
video,
it, though.
Yeah, that little bit of footage that from when I originally started to shoot that episode before I let it sit for a decade.
It's good to let things sort of mature and age like fine wine before you go back and you're like, oh man, I looked young back then.
I was referencing your old Lost Boys location video where you sang at the beginning.
Yeah. Song. I mean, that was I didn't purposely, want to let it sit. That the whole thing with, I explained in the video that I was supposed to do that episode with Corey Haim, and then he died, and then it was kind of bittersweet. So
yeah,
I kind of just walked away from it, and then later decided, you know what, I should just finish it, and dedicate it to him. So
absolutely,
that was a good video. And Alex Winter, that was a good interview you had with him. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he made that video extra special, and I think there's been several Lost Boys location videos prior to that, and I think that one helped kind of push mine at top tier, having him on board to tell stories I'd never heard before. I mean, really informative, cool stories.
Yeah.
Cool. Oh yeah.
All right. So we brought you on today, and we sort of connect with people through film. So talking about, I guess, one of your favorite films, or maybe your favorite film, A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah, it is my favorite film.
And what is it about the film that really holds such a high place in your mind?
Obviously, it had quite an impression on me when I was a kid. I first saw it at probably age, I would say 11, and it was on. It wasn't cable. I believe at the time it was pre-cable. It was they used to have. And I'm a little. I feel that I'm probably much older than you guys, but you might remember pre-cable. There was movie boxes you could buy. There was Select TV. There was On TV. There was the Z Channel. It was playing on Select TV one night, and I started watching it. My mom walked in, probably 40 minutes into the movie, and said,
"Oh no,
you are not watching this. Turn it off." And of course, that made me want to see it that much more. And then I then was able to figure out, seeing it. I made it my goal, and then I became obsessed with it and buying. I remember it was one of the first VHS copies I ever actually purchased at a store. And the movie just has. Visually stunning, obviously.
Yeah.
Kubrick's a master. But one thing I just love about the movie is how it takes you on this emotional roller coaster. You know, the first 30 to 40 minutes just watching these guys commit these heinous acts, and then watching Alex pay for them.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's this amazing journey. I like to tell this story. I have a half sleeve tattoo, Clockwork Orange half sleeve. And,
Wow.
and the girl who did my tattoo, she'd never seen the movie. And I said, well, you got to see the movie. You know, I mean, I can't believe you've never seen this. And she didn't get past like the first 20 minutes. She just said, I mean, it triggered her big time.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
because of some personal things that had happened to her in her past. And I tried, and I was very apologetic. And I said, I'm so sorry, but I really feel like you need to finish this film, because I don't want you to just have this pit, you know, what kind of fucked up guy is this, that this is his favorite movie. You need to see. I think it would be very satisfying to you to see where this goes, but I haven't spoken to her in quite some time. The tattoo was done like 15 years ago. So, I mean, I don't know if in that time she's ever watched it. I doubt it, but
yeah.
Or gone back to it. Yeah.
You know, it's one of, like I said, it has so many, just highs and lows, and you're not sure, am I rooting for Alex? Am I rooting against him? Am I rooting for him again?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's like, it takes you on an emotional roller coaster. And I think it has a real, morality tale, but also at the same time, the way it ends, which is very different than the book. I love the way Kubrick ended it, to be honest with you.
Yeah. I heard in the book, he like just grew up, right?
Well, in the book, he gets out and he sees other younger people doing kind of the same stuff he was doing. And he's not that guy anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's been down a path. He's been on a journey this whole time.
He sees that like Dim got married, I think, that kind of thing, and had a kid. And he's like, oh, I want some of that too.
Yeah. Honestly, I haven't read that final chapter in a long time, but I just remember reading it, like being so excited to read it. Because it wasn't published until probably 20 years ago or something like that. It finally, they published it with the missing chapter.
The missing ending, right? It was the missing ending, I think.
The missing ending. Yeah. It was a full chapter. And I remember the late 80s, I believe, Rolling Stone magazine they published the final chapter in the magazine. And I remember buying it and being so like, oh my God, and reading it and being really let down by it. Like, oh, that's not where that's not where I wanted this to go. You know?
Yeah.
That's what I heard. I watched the film, I think, in high school. Mm-hmm. And, of course, you know, that age or even younger, I guess it's really impactful. So I went to read the book, but admittedly, I couldn't get through like the first couple chapters because obviously in the movie, they speak in that, what do you call it? NADSAT. But in the book, you don't even have the visuals to coach you through what's going on. It's just kind of like, wow, you're immersed in this you're reading. I felt it's been a long time, but I felt like it's just another language altogether, which is it's fascinating. But yeah,
I first saw it on Skinamax, like when I was 14. I mean, Skinamax as we called it back then. But yeah, because it was totally uncensored on Cinemax, and man, it was shocking. It's still shocking when you watch it. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those things where, as a horror fan and everything, we always like to root for the bad guys. We like to root for them, for Jason and Michael Myers, and you know, and very much so. I felt that way about Alex. Like I you know,
he's the anti-hero, right?
Yeah, he is. And when he goes through the treatment and he can't defend himself anymore and all that stuff, then you start to sympathize with him. But at the same time, you realize he's inherently evil. He is just a bad person. And there is no redeeming quality about him. And I loved that that's how the movie ended. Like, it took you had this, like I said, an emotional roller coaster reaction to what he went through. And at the very end, when you realized that whatever the traumatic experience he had trying to commit suicide, landing on his head or whatever happened, that fixed the problem. The problem being the treatment that made him now react differently. And the fact that he is having this vision at the end and is not getting sick, and he states, I was cured. And that basically in your head, like, oh, wow, he's going to get out and he's going to be that guy again. And there's something satisfying about that.
I guess Kubrick's a cynic in a lot of ways, but I mean, that is like the most like cynical thing. It clearly makes that point. There's a lot of political themes that, like, he's part of the reason I think you sympathize with him, because he's sort of exploited by the ruling party, who's just going to use him and his like this reform method, and we're going to clean up the streets and all this. But then Kubrick says, you can't fix, I mean, you know, you break off a snake's fangs, it's still going to try to bite. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You can't fix some things. It's just in his nature. And I guess that's the ultimate cynical message of this movie.
Yeah. Do you wonder too, if the cynical message also is some people are born inherently bad sometimes?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I love the speech that the one guy gives where he says that he has no real choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Where's the choice? You're not curing him. You're not making him good. He has no choice now.
Yeah.
And that was the argument to the treatment was cruel because it's depriving him of real human choice. And he's still a bad person. He's just now getting sick.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
And then the fact that they're going to use him as a political tool at the end of the movie, essentially, as, you know, we went wrong here and now we're going to go right here again. But he's still the same in all of it.
But he's no different. I mean, the politicians and then the prison infrastructure and all these things, they're no different than he is. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He's just a small time thug. And these are like big time people who are doing big time terrible things.
Bigger time thugs.
Yeah. He's like taking his aggression out, you know, on innocent people and depriving them of their safety and security, but the institutions are doing this in mass. And that is one of the things I think, if I would say criticism, but sometimes you want to see a little more. I want to see a little more of the world to see, you know, what created, you know, Alex, you know, how did we get to that point? Like we talked about Soylent Green a while back. You see the downfall of society in the first couple of minutes of that. Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to see like to contrast like our society with this, but I guess Kubrick's not really even interested in telling a cautionary tale. You know what I mean? About how the world got to be this way. I guess he's just saying it is. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Yeah. He breaks the rules. He breaks all the cinematic rules in this one. I mean, the people you're watching in the movie, following the movie, are bad guys who are wearing white at the same time. You know, this is the first time you ever see somebody breaking rules like this in cinema, really hardcore breaking rules, you know, left and right, so to speak, where the audience is going, who do we, I mean, this must have been hard to stomach back in 1972, though, when it came to America.
Well, you know, another thing I think I loved about the film as a kid was trying to figure out the language.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out the slang, putting together what everything meant. And it was kind of fun trying to learn it, you know?
Yeah.
You bring up the language. That's an interesting aspect of the movie. It's like this, he talks in this gang kind of speak, city speak kind of language.
But yeah, it was just, I guess Burgess based it off of a bunch of different types of slang and like Cockney and a few other things sort of mixed together.
Definitely, yeah.
I'm glad that they kept it.
Oh, yeah. But it's tremendously effective.
He says words like Gulliver, meaning his head or his brain, I guess.
Yeah.
You know, like stuff like that, though, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you eventually figure it out, you know, because references, you know, says it enough times, you start to oh, that's what he means. Okay. Horror show means good. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, Gulliver, you know, Devotchka means girl, you know, stuff like that. You start to put it all together.
Right.
Groovy means blood, you know.
Yeah. That's part of the fun. Like, I mean, how many movies are out there? I mean, maybe like Lord of the Rings, kind of. I guess there's some, I don't know, but that have their own language.
Honestly, I don't think a movie like that could work today, because I think today's youth are too lazy, you know. I really do. I mean,
Yeah.
although they have the technology now at their hands to be able to probably translate it very quickly. So
Yeah, Google Translate.
it seems like people get bent out of shape when there's friggin' subtitles.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting. I think for modern audiences, I'm sure people are still discovering this movie like I did when I was young. But I think it's a longer movie. It's a Kubrick movie. I mean, you've got to be in for the long haul on this. Like you said, like that lady who saw the first part, and I mean, this is a very deliberate film. And it's like your vegetables, you know what I mean? It's good for you to watch something like this, but maybe at first it tastes like broccoli to someone who's younger. But I think definitely to our younger viewers or listeners, it's definitely worth a watch. And the strange part is I hadn't seen this honestly in a long time, and I mean 10 years or something like that. And I remembered mostly that first part, that first third of the movie when they're committing all the ultra violence. And then it was like watching the rest of them like, oh yeah, that's right. There's another movie beyond this. But in my mind, it was just the violence and the rape and everything in the beginning.
Yeah. Whereas the second half of the movie's rehabilitation, essentially, it's a movie about a rehabilitation kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then just revenge.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody getting revenge. The bum, the writer, Dim and Georgie, and everybody's getting a go at him,
Is it me? That scene with him and Dim and Georgie where they gang up on him, that looks like, it just always looks like a bad dream to me. Like the worst dream ever. Where somebody is just, abusing somebody. The way it's lit is horrific. I mean, it's like the worst horror film scene. And I feel like Clockwork Orange is kind of a dystopian sci-fi horror, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's supposed to be the future.
Satire on top of that. My God, that's like a heaping. But yeah, this scene is the scariest scene to me in the movie, honestly, where I just that's the scene where you kind of feel for Alex a bit, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's so much dread in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just this sense of ominous dread, and
just
then
the way they're all, well, what have we here?
You're
Oh
like,
my God.
oh.
You're like, oh fuck, oh God.
Oh shit! What are
If
they
these
gonna
guys cornered you, my God, just the sound. Well. If they were in your backyard, all of a sudden you're, I don't know.
Yeah. And then, Sean, like you said, and then 2/3 of the way through the movie, the tables have turned. And now you feel that dread when Alex he's had his claws removed, so to speak. He's been conditioned to feel ill every time he has these thoughts of violence, so he can't react that way. And then he has no natural defense. So when he sees his old chums there that, were in his gang that, he basically asserted his control over, you see them again, and then they're getting their revenge on him, and it's frightening. The tables have turned, like that dread when they're dragging him to the trough. I was like, oh shit, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre or something. It was just so horrific.
Yeah.
And then another thing, though, that we didn't mention is, on top of all of that, the fact that he gets a further punishment because the thing he loves more than anything, Ludwig van Beethoven, is getting taken away from him now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, because they used the music in those clips when he was being conditioned, that now whenever he hears that music, he feels sick. And that is like the ultimate punishment to him,
Oh my God, can you imagine? I mean, the music you love the most being your punishment suddenly and making you vomit or nauseous, almost want to vomit every time you hear it,
Yeah.
Like if you were a fan of a band like Chicago and you were in a supermarket and suddenly you're like, oh my God, Chicago makes me
you'd have to
nauseous
run
all
out
of a sudden.
of the
Not
store.
Chicago, no. It's sin. I'm sorry. I'm cured.
Yeah. I'm sorry, I have to joke here, but yeah, I mean, it's that crazy though. It's that crazy. But it makes sense because music can set us off in that way. Music is powerful in that way, and especially music you love, no matter what era.
It soothes the savage beast, and the interesting thing is, I think that was the only thing he loved in life that I could tell. Maybe not his parents. was there anything else that he cared about other than that?
Other than
music?
his snake.
Basil,
They got-
his snake.
And the
Yeah.
snake. The snake, yeah, you're right.
Which
The
got
snake
taken
and
away.
Mozart, yeah. But I will say the last part of the movie, he's revisited upon, like, he goes to the writer's house whom they beat up and then they rape the wife, and then they're back in this. He kind of like shows up, I mean, conveniently back to the writer's house, and then everything sort of turns, the tables turn. And I don't know. I wish there was, like, you get a glimpse of what this, I guess there's some sort of rebellion or there's something going on there. And that's when people begin to use Alex and manipulate him in the movie.
Well, he explains that the wife who died ultimately of her injuries from the rape, that basically the government tried to tell him that it was pneumonia, whatever, and, you know, that it turned him into a political person. And that's why he was like, you coming here was like a sign, you know, not knowing he was the one who committed the crime, you know, and that's just another thing that's just so genius about the whole premise and the scene, and the fact that we're all on pins and needles going, oh shit, you know, when he realizes where he is. And then you're like, oh, he doesn't recognize him. He's in the clear. And then he gets cocky.
Yeah.
And he
That's
starts,
right.
you know, in the bathtub singing in the rain. And then that's when he hears him, and that, like, basically triggers the dude and practically has a seizure. And then it turns into a revenge thing. You know, I want this guy punished. To, you know, they were going to use him politically originally, but then he decided, no, I want this guy to suffer.
Yeah.
I think it's deep too in that scene how he reacts. The old man reacts when we can hear Alex sing in the rain in the bathtub. He's got that same, like, he's got a PTSD look on his face.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, one thing that's interesting that I did not bring up in my episode, the locations episode, Horrors Hollow Grounds.
Yeah.
When I'm reenacting him listening to him in the room above.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never mentioned where that location was, and that's a location nobody had ever found. Oddly enough, that location where he's listening to him and he's like having a great deal of pleasure.
Yeah, I was wondering, was that in a hotel?
Oh my God, that was a separate. That was not in the same house.
It's the same hotel. It's actually in the bar at that hotel, but nobody that's ever visited put it together until my friend Rich like noticed it, and he went, "Wait a second. That wall looks familiar," and he looked at it and holy shit, this is the room. Now, mind you, geographically, it is pretty much above it, but to the right a little bit.
Yeah.
But it actually geographically works. But it's funny, nobody had ever. I guess people went there so excited they found the room, they never realized that the bar, because it doesn't have a pool table in it. You know, the only thing that looks the same is basically around the fireplace, the woodwork, and I think the same painting might be up on the wall behind him. And you can't really see the doors to the bar because they're covered by those giant speakers that they put there for the scene.
Yeah.
Because right behind the set of the speakers to the left is the double doors that walk in from the lobby of the hotel. So,
yeah.
Interesting.
How did you find these locations? Because I think I gathered from the video that you've been over a few times or a couple of times to see these locations. Is that right?
Yeah. I mean, the first time I went over there, I actually there was a book. I still have them. There was this book. I don't remember the guy's name, but it's called The Worldwide Guide to Movie Locations. He did two different editions, and it was literally addresses and a few photos, and it's very sparse.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Very sparse. I mean, like one movie might have 3 addresses. But I remember I took it with me the first time I went to England, and I hit up as much as I could out of that book. And the key Clockwork Orange locations were in that book. But then you start getting into the deep cuts of certain locations. Now with Google, it's a lot easier to research, and you have all these things where you can go back and look at aerial photos from years past and try to pinpoint things. And And it's just a lot of research, man, a ton of research. And, there were certain locations like the Japanese gardens, which is the exterior of the writer's house where he crawls up to the door. That's completely off limits to the public. I didn't think I'd ever be able to see that. And the fact that my friend Rich, who lives in the UK, was somehow able to sweet talk the guy who owns it into letting us come is mind-boggling. I mean, because the guy is like a multi-millionaire, and he literally had his driver come meet us at the train station, pick us up, drive us to the house, gave us a tour, drove us back. I mean, it was so accommodating. It was nuts.
Wow. How cool.
Yeah.
That just must have been an amazing experience.
I swear. I mean, you, Sean, and then the husband and wife over at Grim Collective, I admire y'all. Really know how to find these places. And I gorge on these videos a lot of times because it's amazing. I'm a fan of movie locations and spotting them myself. Anthony and I used to live in Dallas, where RoboCop and Logan's Run were shot. So we've seen most of those locations because of that, because we did go look for a lot of those locations around there.
Yeah.
It's such a fun thing. Yeah. When you find that location, and a lot of times it's way different. You got to find, like you said, a door, like some cue that indicates, like, it looks like it was in this area, but here it is. This is it.
And part of the fun for me has always been the hunt. Honestly, technology has kind of ruined a little bit of that. And the fact that you can find most everything online these days kind of ruins it a little bit. Because I enjoyed the driving around and looking and really getting into it, and the sense of accomplishment when you finally pull it off. I mean, I think if you watch my, if you happen to see or have seen or see my Kiss Meets the Phantom episode, I'm walking around trying to find where this damn elevator was that led to Devereaux's lab that's at Magic Mountain. And I'm walking around it.
I'm gonna have to check it out. Yeah.
I'm walking past it like 5 times, not realizing it's staring me right in the face. And and once I put it together and I was filming, it's fun to catch those moments on film. I figured it out on camera. I'm like, wait, hold up. And I look at it and I'm like, holy shit, this was it. And it's like the excitement and the, it's a lot of fun doing that stuff. And man, I've gotten real lucky lately on my timing, because the Kiss Meets the Phantom one and Clockwork Orange, 2 major locations, have been demolished since I shot my episodes. And I literally got them in under the wire. So.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah. Wow. You're always in a march against time, because so many things have changed. I remember one of the RoboCop locations, it was the gas station that blew up, and we were there. And it was the remains of a gas station that had just fallen apart, right? And then, like, the next year, had we gone, like you said, 6 months later, the next year, it was an apartment complex. And so I don't know, for what it's worth, just to be able to see that part before it was changed, For Clockwork Orange specifically, there's the thrill of the hunt, but was there a particular location that you were just like, wow, I found it. This is it. This is Clockwork Orange for me. Was there, like,
where you felt nirvana or euphoric,
Definitely the Flat Block Marina, which was Thames Mead Walk, or no, Bensley Walk is what it's called.
Oh, that. Yeah.
And that is the spot that just got demolished.
Wow.
That's the scene where they're walking and he kicks them into the water, teaches them a lesson or whatever. I mean, when I first went there, the first 2 times I went there, 2002 and I think again 2009 maybe, it still looked exactly the same. I mean, it had the same buildings and everything around it.
Yeah.
And just this insane, like, butterflies and just that place, that was great. And for example, if you say you saw the Clockwork episode, I again, you see my excitement as I realized that it was still there, because I'm like, I think it's been demolished, and I went around the corner. I'm like, oh my god, we can still walk it. Well, I guess not long after that I shot that, they demolished the whole thing. So
Wow.
that's what I've been
Wow.
told. That's what I've been told by locals that have messaged me. I haven't personally seen it yet. So
Wow. And it looked dystopian too. I guess it was sort of like run down and covered in graffiti. That was cool. So what is the significance of the scene where they beat the bum? I mean, that's the one that you got on your arm. I guess that location was probably pretty special to you as well.
I mean, it's just cool because the tunnel still looks exactly the same, really.
I always love the way that tunnel looks, though, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the way he lit it with those
Yeah.
bright lights way far away, making the shadows as they walk towards him look really cool and long and ominous.
Yeah, it's like Ridley Scott before Ridley Scott. It's like, and just the angles of that tunnel, the way that angular, sharp angles.
Yeah, because
of the
when you're
tunnel.
there, it does not
Yeah.
look nearly as big as it does on film. You know,
Man, it's just Kubrick with the lenses and the once again
wide
just
angle
making it
lenses, floodlights.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you were in England, were there other locations like for other movies that you checked out? Was it like, oh, I'm here, I might as well check some other stuff out?
when do you mean, this last time? Or
Yeah. When you were doing,
yeah, I shot multiple episodes while I was there. I shot Clockwork Orange. I shot one on the young one's house. I did Hellraiser. I did Shaun of the Dead.
oh, cool.
I did American Werewolf in London, and
Oh, wow.
I did the only one that hasn't been released is Slaughter High.
Oh.
So
Oh, Slaughter High.
Yeah.
That was, oh
that
man.
was shot. A lot of people don't realize that was shot in London or outside of London. Yeah,
Really?
yeah.
I had no idea. I knew
know
Caroline
that either.
Monroe was in that, but I didn't realize that was a shot over there. Wow. It's
Yeah,
definitely a
it's-
strange looking movie.
It's definitely a deep cut. It's I doubt it's going to be one of my more popular episodes. It'll probably be not viewed too much.
Yeah, we know about that here with our podcast.
Oh,
Some of the
God,
movies
yeah.
we- yeah. To review for 2 hours, we talk about a movie nobody's ever heard of for like 3 people on the planet Earth.
Galaxy of Terror. We
Yeah,
are not
yeah.
concerned with listens, clearly. Shrieking
Yeah.
the Mutilated.
We do a
Yeah.
lot of deep cuts here, so no problem here with that. Anyway,
Yeah, so I know it was a lot of effort for an episode that probably won't be watched much, but again, I do these for myself, and
Yeah.
that is a movie that as bad as it is, it's good. So I really, my main motivation to do that episode was to get in that school. I wanted to see the interior of that school, and
Yeah.
unfortunately, I was unable to get inside because it's abandoned and
Mhm.
it's right in the middle of the city and it's under pretty heavy lock and key. And I
Hmm.
wasn't willing to risk trying to get in and getting in trouble in a foreign country.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have cared if it was the U.S. I probably wouldn't have
Yeah.
cared. But
Yeah. In the U.S., you're not afraid to trespass, but other
Yeah.
countries definitely different.
Speaking of it, that's an interesting thing. Is Slaughter High is kind of a, at least for me, and I haven't seen it in a while. I actually no. I think I watched it not this Halloween, but the Halloween before. Just for fun. And I think that's another movie where there's a misfit that's sort of been wronged, and you're sort of rooting for the killer in a different way. Just
Yeah.
because it's sort of a unique film, I think, in that way. Kind of like Clockwork Orange a little bit.
The reason I haven't released the episode is I've been sitting on it because we're still trying to get access to the interior. My friend Rich, who lives in the UK, who he tags along with me whenever I go over there to do filming stuff. He's a friend and a fellow film location enthusiast. He reached out to the school district that owns the building and explained what we wanted to do. They had never seen the movie. And then he said, so he sent them a copy. And I'm like, oh God, when they see this, there's no way. And surprisingly, they've been somewhat receptive, but we still haven't gotten the, yes, we'll get you in. So I've been sitting on this episode waiting, because if they say yes, I will just figure out when I can get back there and do it. And because I'm one of these guys, if I have any knocks against my competition, if you will, of people that do filming locations, is I'm a completist.
Yeah.
I want to hit every location. I want to get it done. I want to get it done right. I don't care how long it takes me to do it.
Yeah. You want to go intricate and go full throttle, so to speak.
Yeah, because nothing makes me more crazy when I see a filming location posted by somebody and it says the filming locations of this movie, and then you watch it and they literally go to like 2 or 3 spots, and you're like,
yeah,
exactly, yeah.
You're like, dude, this isn't a film. This is you should have put a couple scenes from whatever. I mean, it's kind of clickbait, and a lot of it is. Again, a lot of people that do this do it for the clicks, and they do it to make money. And I do it for fun and a hobby, and I want to get it all done. So if they flat out tell us, sorry, you can't get in there, it's too dilapidated, it's dangerous, sorry, we can't, I'll just admit defeat on that one and put out my episode. But if they say I can, I'll sit on it and wait. I'm not too worried about anybody scooping me on Slaughter High. I can't imagine anybody going to the UK and doing a filming location on Slaughter High.
Well, now we can't wait till this. Now we can't wait till you release it. Now we want to watch it.
Yeah, now you've teased it enough, man, because I like that film. And
I've never watched this movie, though. I need to watch it.
Are you serious?
No, I don't think I've ever seen
it's
Slaughter High.
It's a very unique film, I think, in the 80s sort of slasher genre.
I love Caroline Munro, though, of course.
It's all about some 40-year-old high school students going to, I don't know, a reunion of sorts. It's
funny you say that, because I make fun of that in my episode, that I think Caroline Munro is supposed to be, because it starts off in high school.
Yeah.
Right. And she's supposed to be like 16, but she was actually 32 at the time or something.
Yeah.
That's like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to buy that these are high school kids?
She was held back a little.
We did that old movie, High School Confidential, from the 50s on our podcast. It's an old Russ Tamblyn movie, made by MGM. And man, that you talk about, God, everybody looks like they're 30 in that movie.
Literally everyone's 30. And it's like, I don't know. But Slaughter High's funny like that. So dumb question. Was it all filmed in that? I guess it was low budget, and it's clearly in a school, like in the gym and the bathrooms. And is it all filmed at the same location, more or less? Because I can't remember another major location in that movie.
It was 2 different locations. The exterior of the school is a completely different building than the interior.
Oh, okay.
And then other than that, there was Carolyn Monroe's apartment building in the beginning. Yeah. There was the road of them driving to the reunion when the car breaks down and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that's it. I mean, there's not a lot. I think that might be everything off the top of my head. Yeah.
You are a completist. Yeah. But that's interesting. Wow. So we'll look out for that episode.
Yeah, I saw a location.
Good luck on that, man. Good luck.
You talk about completists. I did see a location video. I think it was from Watch Mojo, maybe, where they were, here's the locations of The Shining, and they got it all wrong. They were saying everything was in Oregon. They forgetting that like the exterior, if Jack Nicholson and Shelley Duvall were walking in front of it, it was in England. That's no longer here. It's no longer around. People forget, no, they didn't. Kubrick is not going to leave England to shoot a movie in Oregon. No, he would send people to shoot exteriors and then bam, build it in England. And that kind of annoyed me.
Yeah. I mean, literally that hotel in Mount Hood, Oregon, the Timberline, the real one is in the film for probably, I think it's 2 shots. And I want to say they last maybe a total of 4 to 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it was all the facade built at Elstree Studios.
Exactly. Thank you. I mean, and plus, I live in Colorado right now. I currently reside in Colorado, even though my area code is Dallas area code.
Mm-hmm.
And I know all of the Shining exteriors were Oregon at the beginning. And it's funny when I watch it here in Colorado and I hear them talking about, it sounds like it's like home at first, because they'll say well, we the people in Boulder talked about you, the people in Denver really said good things about you, and I'm like, I feel like I'm at home, but yet when I watch the exteriors, I'm like, it still feels foreign to me because it's like I know it's Oregon, and the mountains look different in Oregon compared to Colorado.
Yeah,
they're much more
that's
vertical.
actually a monster episode I've been working on. I've already started filming, and what that episode is going to be.
Oh, you're doing one on that? Yeah.
Is it's going to be the book, the movie, and the miniseries. It's going to be all
Wow.
three.
And the Steven Weber movies miniseries. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm going to touch on that too because it involves the Stanley where he stayed when he got the idea to write the book. So,
Yeah.
because I want to put to bed all that misinformation because there's so much misinformation. People, it's so funny. You hear casual fans all the time say, "Oh, the Shining Hotel where they shot The Shining." It's like, no, that doesn't exist. It really doesn't exist. I mean,
I still hear it here in Colorado. Oh, the Stanley,
Yeah.
that's where they filmed The Shining. I'm like, no, not exactly.
exactly. Yeah.
Let me
So
explain.
yeah. So you have to go, okay, Stanley Hotel where he got the
Yeah.
idea to write the book and where they shot the miniseries.
He got the idea there. It inspired him. Exactly.
The Anawani and Yosemite where they used to model the interior sets.
Yeah.
And then there's the Timberline, which was the exterior that they modeled the exterior of. And then there's Elstree Studios. There was no Shining. There was no Overlook Hotel.
Now that I did see, not to reference another YouTuber, Grim Collective went there to that Yosemite location.
Yeah.
With the video that I saw, and that was mind blowing because I didn't know all the interiors were based on that they built in England.
Mm-hmm.
But it was completely. I was amazed at how exact that was, though.
Yeah,
that was pretty interesting and mind blowing.
Yeah, I first went there like 20 years ago.
Did you? Oh, you've been there. You've been there.
Oh God, yeah.
What's it like to stay in there? My God, we talk about location nirvana again. I don't know, just like location high kind of thing. But
well, the thing about it is it's a much smaller scale version. So when you're in there, you're like, wow, this looks just like it, but it's tiny. It's not nearly as big as what Kubrick built.
This would not fill a whole Elstree stage.
Yeah, like that room where he's doing all the writing in is way bigger in the movie than it is at the real place.
Okay, interesting.
And, like the red elevators, those aren't even actually elevator doors. They're just wall panels that are painted red that kind of look like elevators.
Huh.
So
interesting.
It's, I'm going to have all that in my episode. Again, I've been working on this one for a few years.
Oh, cool.
And I could have released it in pieces, but I want to get it all done. And I want to put it in one giant episode.
Oh, cool. That's exciting.
So, it is a bummer when I see stuff like that pop up. When Grimm did that, I was like, shit. Oh, well.
You're like, he beat me to it.
In a way, yeah. I mean, it's been, anybody who's a Shining fan, it's been pretty common knowledge that was the place. And I know I've seen lots of fans have visited there, but I guess nobody had really done a definitive video on it. But yeah, I mean, it'll be part of mine. Like another place I've never seen on any video that I've already gone to and shot, and you could probably visit yourself because you're in Colorado, is the exterior of their apartment is in Colorado.
Oh, is it? I didn't. Okay, I didn't know that. I thought that was Oregon again. You mean at the beginning of the movie?
When you see the establishing shot of the Torrance's apartment building, that is in Colorado.
Oh my God. I'm gonna have to go look it up now. I should.
Yeah. I was just there a few months ago, and we stayed in the Stephen King suite at the Stanley, and I shot all that stuff, and then I went and did the apartment.
Was that a location in the miniseries later on?
The Stanley was the entire miniseries. Yeah. They shot the miniseries at the Stanley.
Shot them. Interesting.
But that's also the room he came up with the idea that it's now the Stephen King suite, room 217, because it was 217 in the novel. 237 in the movie.
I still have not visited the Stanley yet. I mean to. I've only gotten into The Shining more so again recently.
Yeah, it's very cool. It's very cool. Definitely a must see for any Shining fan.
Yeah.
I don't live in a cool place like you guys. I live in the Carolinas. So if you guys ever want to see Dawson's Creek filming locations or Empire Records, hit me up.
I wanted to go visit the Brainstorm locations there, and anything Dino De Laurentiis shot in the 80s there, and Hell the Crow was shot there. I told you.
Yeah, it was.
You've got a lot. You're in location central, Anthony. Kind of there.
Where?
Kind of.
Where is he?
He's in North Carolina.
I'm in North
Oh
Carolina.
yeah, go to Wilmington.
Salem.
There's tons.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I shot a bunch of episodes there.
Oh, cool.
Halloween Kills, Blue Velvet,
Yeah.
Trick or Treat,
Hmm.
the 80s Trick or Treat, the Sammy Kerr one. And what else did I shoot there?
You've been collecting like props and memorabilia for a while, right? I mean, you're obviously a big time collector. How long have you been collecting? Just like since you were born, or just since you were a kid, or since you were, a teen, or?
I guess the first thing I got was in like 1990 maybe.
Mhm.
There was an auction at a Fangoria convention. They used to do these auctions on Sunday night at the end of the convention, and a lot of times the local effects shops would donate stuff from movies and let it be auctioned off, and oh my god, the stuff went so dirt cheap.
Oh wow!
I mean,
imagine.
in
Oh,
hindsight,
nice.
when I
Back
look
then.
back on the stuff I passed on, and like,
Oh.
it sold for $300, and to me, at a 19, 20-year-old kid, it was like that was a lot of money, So
You're still kicking yourself over that one, just like
That'd be an investment, boy. Yeah.
yeah, well, the one thing I did get was I bought and I still have it to this day. It was a Liam Neeson skin head from Darkman.
Oh, wow!
And I
Is
think
that
I got
K&B
it for
Effects that did that?
no, that was Tony Gardner.
Tony Gardner. That's right, Tony Gardner.
And I want to say I was maybe $300 I paid for it.
Oh my God! Back then,
Yeah.
wow, that might go for more in an auction now. That's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Wow. What are the most prized possessions in your memorabilia collection? Like that you
the
cherish?
Poltergeist clown, the
hell
my
yeah.
James Remar Ajax vest from the Warriors.
You own that? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Oh my God! How did I miss?
Oh
that? You own
man.
that? I'm sorry. I'm just like fanboying now. I'm like,
I also have his belt and belt buckle.
oh my God!
Oh man, that's fantastic. That's a classic.
Can you
film.
dig it?
Oh man.
What about movie posters? I'm a collector of movie posters lately. I actually own my own collection. What are your most prized movie posters, do you think?
Other
Other than your autograph ones I've seen in your YouTube videos in the background. Clearly, those are probably prized, I imagine, just because they're autographed, obviously. But
yeah, I guess my international Halloween poster, the one of him like looking over the staircase, that's a favorite. That one is
it's an original?
constantly on the wall in a frame. I would say I like some of the like limited one sheets that they did, like back in what year would that be? Like 1990 or yeah, it was 90, I think.
Mhm.
They did these really cool limited Mylar Empire Strikes Back 10th anniversary posters. Look, I'm looking up to see if I'm trying to see, I don't have them near me at the moment. Okay, yeah, they were.
Maybe.
Yeah, there's one on eBay right now buy it now for $1,899.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm joking.
there's
No.
so there was a few different ones. There was a silver Mylar one with black printing that had Luke on the Tauntaun, and then that was, I think I want to say they made 1,000 or 1,500 of, and then there
Okay,
was a
yeah.
gold Mylar one of Vader's helmet, and that one they only made 500 of.
Okay.
And then they did, I want to say maybe for the 15th anniversary, they did another limited Mylar one of Boba Fett's helmet, and that one is really cool too. I love those posters. I love Mylar posters.
Yeah.
They did a really cool Night of the Living Dead Mylar poster for the 25th anniversary, and that's a favorite of mine because I got it signed by the whole cast minus Dwayne Jones, who had already passed at that point.
Yeah. Wow.
I sadly, I hate saying this, painful. I used to have one for Batman, the 1989 Batman, which I don't know what happened to it. Yeah, it was like I got it from a movie theater, and I should have just rolled it up and put it away.
Well, there was
That could've been
there
your
was a
retirement.
silver. There
Yeah.
was a silver Mylar Star Wars teaser poster. It's out there. They made
I think I know what you're talking
they
about.
made a
Yeah.
lot of them. I don't own it. It's one that I do want someday. I
Mhm.
need to pick it up, but they go for a lot.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
No, Mylar
And
is
there's
so
also
beautiful.
a really cool Superman Mylar
Yes!
teaser poster,
That's a famous one. That's
Yeah.
like, famous. That one's beautiful. It's like
and
yes.
it was silver Mylar. I'd like to pick one of those up one day.
Yeah, that's definitely one I would want to own. What's an expensive piece of memorabilia you think you'd want to own, but you don't think you could ever own? Like I know for me, it's like the time machine, the Bob Burns time machine. Like that would be my dream, owning memorabilia myself.
Yeah,
just
the
as an
dream
example.
acquisition.
I mean, I couldn't, you can't really say because you never know what something's going to go for. I mean,
That's true,
it's
though.
only going to sell for as much as someone's willing to pay. I mean, you never know. Sometimes you get lucky,
Yeah.
Lately, the market's been going bonkers and the prices have been going through the roof. But every once in a while, you get lucky on a piece. Like I bought recently, I bid on the Killer's face mask from the House of Wax remake.
Oh wow.
And I was thinking, oh man, this is the Killer's mask. This thing's probably going to go high. And I don't really know if anybody even bid against me. It didn't go high at all. I got it really reasonable. I want to say $2,000.
Oh wow.
So that's
Nice.
after all the fees and taxes and everything. So that was pretty good. But then you see something like the evil face poltergeist clown go for $675,000.
Yeah.
That's a house.
I've noticed that with movie posters sometimes I get lucky on eBay because I'm always on eBay scoping out one sheets. And just like sometimes you'll see it for 200 somewhere else, like The Man from Hong Kong, that movie. I love that movie. And then I found it for somebody didn't give a crap about it and sold it for $16 out of an attic, and I was like,
they don't know. Yeah.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. Same with a movie that same year, a couple of movies that same year that came out, I got really cheap, surprisingly. And I was shocked, but you're right about the market all over the place, man. That's for sure.
Yeah. But as far as like, what is a prop I would love to own?
Yes.
That I don't even know if it still exists, or I'm sure it probably does. I don't know who has it, but I would love to own Alex's cane from Clockwork Orange, the one that the knife blade comes out of.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
I wonder where that thing is now. My God.
I have a replica somebody made me as a gift, but it's not the same. I know they had one on display at the Kubrick Archives Museum, but I am pretty certain it was a replica. It wasn't the real one.
Yeah. Well, we'll put it out there. Hopefully, if anyone's listening, contact Sean.
Please don't, because I can't afford it right now. I don't want to. As I know that thing's going to go nuts. Yeah, I have it. I'll sell it for $1 million. Unless you're like, you know what, you seem like a good guy. $100. I'm like, okay, let's do it.
There you go. All right.
Yeah, I talk about the time machine. Hell, it was like they found it like in a thrift store before it was restored. That's the old story about that one.
The thing about that is, though, as people are getting older, less people know that movie. So your competition is dying.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
I mean, it's true. A lot of these props have a shelf life.
Yeah.
Oh man, the thrill of the hunt, man. When you're bidding on something, I guess that's just, I don't know, man.
I personally am doing my best to not deal with auctions anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, not only do they just rape you with the fees and then the taxes.
Yeah.
I've had, if you've seen my Lost Boys video, I've had really bad experiences with the companies just being shitty and dishonest. And I personally, at this point, would rather, whenever possible, just deal directly collector to collector. So the last few things I've purchased have been directly from collectors or effects artists themselves.
Yeah, that's much better than you cut out the middleman and you just don't.
Yeah, well, I mean,
you're paying all that.
You have to pay like 27% buyer's premium just to buy something. Like if you're if you're buying something that costs $10,000. Now it's, it's like almost 2,800 or 12,800, and then tax on top of that, California state tax. It's like, dude, it's getting, and then they want to rape you for shipping it because they'll only use their specific shipping company that they're in bed with.
Yeah.
It's really kind of a corrupt business.
Yeah, and that's
the worst part
sucks.
of it is those motherfuckers. They act like they do all the research, dude. Mm-hmm. So many times in every auction, I point out things that are fakes, and other people do too, and they call them out. And a lot of times they don't do anything about it. I had one auction house straight up tell me I was right about something. I have it in an email. I said, look, you have this listed incorrectly. This isn't this, it's that. And they go, oh, you know what? We agree with you. We see, I sent them pictures of, you're right. Thank you. They didn't change it. They sold it the way they had it listed. I couldn't believe it.
That's terrible.
I've seen that before. Anthony, do you remember that that museum we used to have in Las Colinas in Dallas?
Yeah.
They used to actually have a lot of props they would say were from local movies that were shot there. But then they would also have props there that they would claim were props that actually weren't props. We found out later on from, if you knew people, they would send you emails and be like, they're lying at Las Colinas Studios Museum.
Yeah.
Most of the props there are not genuine. They're lying. Like, they don't have the original Maltese Falcon there. That's a replica. And they're claiming it's real. They have a local prop collector, like a prop maker, kind of make some of these even. But that's, I believe you on that when you say, like, they're selling the wrong thing sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's different. Yeah, it's one thing to display something like, I mean, are you saying that Planet Hollywood or Hard Rock Cafe, that's not like, Jimi Hendrix's guitar, that's not like, whatever Elton John's glasses. Yeah, but if you're paying for something,
yeah. Well, like the Planet Hollywoods, that I don't know if you just saw the video I just put up when I did the preview thing at the Heritage auction for Planet Hollywood. I mean, Planet Hollywood went to effects artists directly and said, make me, 50 of these for each restaurant. That's why they have,
really,
even though
wow.
Oh yeah. And they're not trying to,
I didn't watch that video yet. I did see that you posted that video. I was going to check.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, they're not.
Just so you know, Heritage is doing a pretty good job about distinguishing what is replicas and what's real. Because there definitely was real stuff in Planet Hollywoods, but there was a ton of replicas. Like each Planet Hollywood, and they had like 150 locations worldwide.
Mm-hmm.
Each Planet Hollywood had a full-size Arnold T2 figure. It's because Stan Winston knocked out like 100 of those things.
I went to the Planet Hollywood in Dallas, and they had the Stallone Demolition Man frozen Stallone.
Yeah, there's like 90 of those things.
90 of those.
That frozen Stallone was in every Planet Hollywood.
Really?
Every Planet Hollywood had that same. It was hanging on the ceiling.
Exactly. That's where I saw it too. It was hanging on the ceiling. What about that Freddy prop I saw, or the Bonnie and Clyde car that I saw with the same bullet shots?
Some of those might be real. I mean, some of them.
The Bonnie and Clyde car, I thought might have been genuine from the movie because it was shot down the road. Technically, it was shot in Denver, I think the movie with Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway. So
like I hear that the Planet Hollywood that was in Costa Rica, I believe it was filled with Jurassic Park props because they had shot it there or something.
Oh yeah.
Oh cool.
Oh cool.
Yeah. So there are a lot of like legit Jurassic Park pieces in the next auction. But it's at least they seem to be trying to do thorough work. But I mean, dude, did you see that thing Spiderhead that sold not too long ago?
No. What was it?
It went for 600 and something thousand.
Oh man.
And
wow.
I can tell you right now that was not screen used. I don't even think it was production made. Everybody I know says the same,
Oh my God, that's the Wilford Brimley Spiderhead thing. Like that, and it sold for 600,000, and it's not the real, it's just a replica.
Yeah.
Wow.
Man.
All right, Sean, this has been great. We really appreciate this. This has been a lot of fun talking about all things.
Been great talking about collecting and Clockwork Orange. I know we appreciate you coming on as a guest.
Well, I enjoyed it.
We'd love to have you back and talk about another movie, maybe just another movie itself,
Yeah. Obviously, Sean has this YouTube channel, good videos, great. Check them out. And hopefully, I'm excited. I mean, the Shining thing's coming out, but the Slaughter High one is definitely high on my list. I'll check that
Shining
out.
one's still going to take a while. There's a few things that I am kind of adamant about having to get to have that one finished. One location in particular that I really want to get into to make that epic. So,
which location is it, or can you say?
Well,
I don't want to give my competition any edges.
Okay, all right, fair enough. I'm not friends with any of that competition at all.
Jordan's trying to get the scoop here.
What's the scoop here, Sean?
No, I mean, I shouldn't even be talking about that I'm doing it. It's like,
you want us to if you want us to cut it out, we can edit it out.
Yeah, whatever you want.
No, it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I mean, that's spread out. You're talking about England, you're talking about Yosemite, you're talking about Oregon, Colorado, Montana for the opening shots.
Oh my God, I forgot that I was saying that.
Globetrotter here.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
You need like a little Indiana Jones plane of you flying all over the world.
And of course, that Montana flying stuff ended up in Blade Runner at the beginning of the movie, or the end of the movie, actually, as the happy ending part.
Director's cut.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, Sean. Thanks again, man. We appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure to check out my fucking YouTube channel at Malfunction. Horrors All Grounds, Thing with Two Heads podcast, the collection, all that good stuff. Also at Malfunction on X, the artist formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram.
Twitter.
Not that I ever post on there. I really don't. I used to link it off of Instagram, and now that that's not connected anymore, I think my Twitter page is pretty much dormant.
Yeah.
Yeah, X is like a ghetto area now of the internet, Twitter, formerly Twitter.
Formerly something.
But go subscribe to it anyway.
All right, guys. It's been great talking to you, Sean, and everyone check out his channels. It's been awesome. And Jordan, this has been...
I still believe... Oh, sorry.
I still believe!
There we go. Thank you.
Perfect. We got one.
We got one out of you. This has been The Robots Took My Podcast.
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.